Thank you. I'm Sandra now, and I call this meeting to order. We have all 6 board members present this evening. Maria Sweeten, Randall Hinton, John Wright, Jacob Meyer, and James McGuffin. Mr. Lem, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll start off with our sheriff's report tonight. Okay. All right, I don't see the sheriff or the fire chief here tonight, so we'll move on. We've got a great opportunity to start with tonight. We have the North Valley Communities That Care has an award to present, and this is Matthew Shields. He's a 15-year-old sophomore at Stansbury High School. He's making a 3.97 GPA while taking AP and honors courses, which are part of his future goals of earning an honors diploma and 4 CTE pathways. He's also a member of the National Honor Society and Stansbury High Concert Choir. During the school year, Matthew stays pretty busy after hours by working as a student sweeper at Stansbury Park Elementary, mowing lawns for 8 to 10 hours during the warmer months, and shoveling snow around the neighborhood in the winter months. His strong work ethic stems from working at his grandpa's farm during the summer and helping his dad complete household and mechanical projects year-round. For the past 5 years, Matthew has held various church youth group leadership positions. He has actively helped carry out and participated in multiple church and community service projects during that time. Matthew's hobbies include woodworking, 3D designing and printing, remote control vehicles, playing pickleball, mountain biking, engineering, and fixing things. After high school, Matthew plans to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Upon returning, he plans to study mechanical engineering at Utah State University. And tonight specifically, where he's being nominated for the following reasons. Matthew is the first to go and help anyone needing service in the community. Just yesterday, this is written by the person nominating him. They say just yesterday, May 30th, so this is a few months ago, he was informed of some graffiti that had been left on a shed on our church property. He went to help scrub it off. From there, he went to mow a neighbor's lawn, brought the mower home and ate dinner. Then he went back to help a new family moving in hall furniture. He taught our new neighbor across the street how to mow his lawn. The neighbor's a refugee from the Ivory Coast who's never had a lawn before. He's weeded a community area that gets lots of weeds and done yard work with no expectation of money for many, many people. This kid is an all-star. Other things he's done recently are the Shields family signed up to help with the 9/11 Day of Service and the Design Village Boulevard from Stallion Way to Highway 36. When they finished picking up trash on both sides of the street, Matthew came back with his trimmer and spent a couple more hours trimming overgrown grass and weeds along the curbing to make it look good. Really, anytime he's asked to help with something or someone, Matthew's there. He's helped people move furniture, unloaded or loaded U-Hauls, voluntarily done yard work, and recently helped our refugee neighbors with transportation papers. So we've got these gift certificates for him. So Matthew, would you come up? And we've got people here in the audience, we have people online.
And you want to go there so I can get a picture with him?
Yeah. Should we have, we have our North Valley representative too, yeah.
Hey, I'll add to that.
Uh-huh.
He's 16 in 2 days.
Oh, my God. All that. All right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, would you like to say anything? Yeah, you're welcome. You should.
Mike can help, I'm there to help.
Good job. Thank you. All right, so this is the part of our meeting, we'll open for public comment. Anyone, any resident or other concerned party is welcome to take 3 minutes of this meeting and express your concerns or kudos or whatever ideas that you have for that's relevant to the service agency. I will note that I think there was some confusion about the fire station tax increase. That's not us. So if that's what you want to comment about, any welcome to tell us about it, but those comments be more relevant to that fire chief. And again, I'll just remind everyone that this time it's hard, we often can't have discussions in this meeting. It's the only time, these public meetings are the only time we can get all 6 of us here to discuss anything, like, legally we can't discuss anything outside of these meetings with all of us here. So we really need to use this time to focus on our action items. That doesn't mean we don't want to have those discussions, but just this time is for public statements. And then we'd love to meet with you and discuss your ideas outside of this meeting. So with that said, I'll open the floor. Please, and say your name and yeah, as you come up, yes, please state your name and write it in. And we are recording, so if we have other, is there a microphone there? Okay, yes. And your address, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, my name is Steve Lamp from 22 Lakeview. The only question I have right now is because we had received in the mail a postcard on the inland port and how it may affect the county, but we have a meeting on this directly. And really what I'd like to know is the board involved in that in any way or ask for information outside of the public hearing committee?
No.
But I guess my other question is, since I'm not totally up to speed on it, where are they really looking to locate, what property they're going to locate, and I presume on I-80, is it on the south side, north side, or do you know what property
They're looking to locate it on what's called Sheep Lane.
over Chief Lane, so it's more towards the south end. Yeah, that's all I had a question on. Thank you.
The county can probably answer one of those questions.
I'm sorry?
The county government can probably answer one.
Yeah, they hear it coming up. I was just kind of curious again whether they approached Erda or anybody else in the community to talk about this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
He's recording, so when we're talking, he's listening remotely, so. Anyway, so picking up the mic, I don't know if this is any better. Is this any better?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, he's recording, and so he's actually logged in Zoom way, so I didn't know if you're sharing the meeting ID or sharing this afterwards. That's one thing. He didn't know. He wanted me to clarify real quickly.
Oh, okay. I think the plan is to upload it to our new YouTube channel.
Okay.
After
So it's not live for people to log in.
It's not live right now. Yeah. We're still working out the kinks on this video, but it will be available for people to watch.
Okay. He just didn't know because he has a meeting ID and he's logged in
Oh, right.
at home.
Oh,
And so
okay.
he's looking at it and I
Oh,
want
that
to
would
make
be
sure.
great. And then.
But sometimes the Zoom accounts limit maybe 20 users, so you're going to record it.
Yes.
And just to touch base on a couple of things as far as public comment goes, I've been in contact with several folks, we've had some good conversations. We're going to talk in more detail. I had an idea regarding names and addresses, and then obviously people that are willing to accept text messages. If that's a service, maybe Google Voice does that. But there's a way to do it through a Microsoft form that is actually exportable, so that you can make labels, if you're choosing to mail anything, email addresses, blast emails. So I have already set that up. And so I'll share that with you guys. You guys can use one of your service agency email, but it'll allow you to export it and you'll get a notification when one of the citizens or even especially our older senior folks that maybe a neighbor could help them get on there. Then that would allow them to have an email address or even something that if they're missing someone, that can help. And so definitely doing that, and I have been looking very hard into those resources for tax rate, circuit breaker stuff. And so I'll update that, and then we put a tab on the certification fee page. The deadline usually for that for the tax year is September, but I'll keep watching that. We can review the forms, potentially have some sort of an outreach event to where folks can come, maybe even get it done with folks, maybe certain boards perhaps, to get seniors available to not miss that deadline. So I wanted to promote that. And then I know there's a lot of confusion. We're always vetting through information. I know I'm close to my 3 minutes, but I did. But in the instance that this is still in flux, you guys are working on the budget, all the things, there's not a lot of people reaching out community-wise, whether they're able to attend or then maybe just talk on the Facebook and make comments or whatever. So there was a comment through several folks that was just talking about understanding or not understanding if that tax vote that you did was solid or final. And so I know that's still in process and it's the whole thing, but there's a lot of confusion if that's still available for a reconsideration option. So if you guys are acknowledging that maybe we don't have to do the 104 on the entities, or if there's an option to decrease that, then you guys further go through your budget. So that was a question I wanted to propose, not so much in this meeting, because I know it's not on the agenda, but just like a motion to reconsider, because if people actively want to get involved, they want to know that they're making a difference. And they even end up doing 104 anywho, then that would still allow the fact that everybody contributed, even though you still need that 104. So the ask would be further down the road, another meeting, potentially a motion to reconsider, and then going back to actually show the final, even if it is 104 per entity. So that would be
Would
my
you say your name for us so we can?
Yes, I'm sorry. I started with that and ended with that. My name is Heather Lester. I'm at 479 Pleasant. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They just read it on their.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close public comments.
So.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. General manager updates.
Okay. So.
We've had a lot of activities going on, so I'm going to just touch on some high points and hopefully that'll be enough. We had a teleconference with the county on the Mill Pond Park application. They suggested splitting that out so it's more clearly defined what the future work is. Our intent is to get that back to them in the next week or so, and then they can see a problem with giving us the approval to move forward with the bathroom and parking lot. So we'll get that done and get back to them so they can move that forward. Soundwall Trail, the issue was with getting with UDOT to make sure that they're agreeable to put the ADA ramp up near Mill Pond Park and the crosswalk. Darren has a meeting scheduled with them next week to open that discussion with UDOT or with County Roads. Once County Roads buys in, then UDOT has agreed to meet with us and adjust the grant schedule so we can slide that into early next year. The intent is to have a bid out and execute it early next year before they get going hot and heavy on the road work. That is a 20-80 split with UDOT, so 20 of our impact fees, 20% of our impact fees and 80% of theirs. Shoreline improvements, we bought the docks that are included with that. That was reimbursed by the county through grant money, so we got that reimbursement back from the county. Since we are sort of moving into the winter schedule, we are delaying execution of the second phase of that. And what we're going to do is, since DWR is now on board with us, we want to update that plan in conjunction with DWR to make sure we get support from them, either with citing or with enforcement once we get that in place. So we've sort of taken a step back on that one. And once DWR is on, we intend to finish that one in the spring also, so it's ready for summer. The bathrooms at the pickleball courts over in the Porter Way, That contract is being executed right now. The electrical connection has been run back to the box. The interior connections are all done, and he's currently working on the water and sewer connections for that bathroom. That will probably be done just in time to close it up. And Oscarson Park, we are still looking for topography measurements before we launch into a build plan session for that one. We are currently working on the board passes sports usage for sports teams on our fields. There's been some pushback from the sports teams, particularly the ones that are considered Stansbury sports teams. We've had a meeting with baseball, and they developed a plan for picking up some of the work, so that will free up our labor to go do something else. And they also are proposing a fixed fee for spring and fall. We're looking at that based on what that sweat equity is. They have also agreed to schedule more firmly what they're using the fields for. So that gives us an opportunity to use those fields for other than Stansbury area teams, which would be paying the full rate. Football, for example, books every weekend, even when they have an away game. And so if there's a cost for them to do that, our feeling is they will not do that, and that will free up more field time for us today to accommodate teams from out of the area to come in and use those fields. Policy and procedures, we'll hear a little bit about that. We are working on we're updating the operations manual. I also have my guys working on an equipment inventory. We found that the equipment inventory is woefully out of date. And so I'm driving those guys crazy because I want to identify everything we have and where it's at, what's in usable condition and what's not. We are also working on some grants with the county. And in that vein, just this morning we had an outreach on the RAISE grant. This was a grant that was put in last year primarily to rebuild the bridge and complete the trail system up towards Mill Pond Park. The grant was a $1.4 million grant with $500K in internal management funds from us. There has been some suggestions maybe we can offset those internal matches with other venues. So we're exploring that. We did not get that grant. Typically, you need to have 5 high ratings to move through to the approval process. Ours was scored as 6 medium and 2 lows. The individual we were talking with at UDOT felt that those could be strengthened to highs with just a little bit of additional information. The 2 lows were primarily because we didn't have enough supporting data for those 2 specific blocks. So he suggested using some resources and getting that supporting data in place that can strengthen those up to medium and maybe even high. He felt there was a high potential for approval in 2024 if we elected to proceed with that. So I thought that was positive. We could possibly, if we can offset the cost, get that bridge rebuilt in place with minimal cost. Okay, there's some discussion about what went on with the auditor outreach. That outreach was primarily for to bring the board up to speed on the audit. We invited the public and allowed them to ask questions just so that they could understand what was going on. So basically, we finished 2021 with about $2 million in operating capital. We received $1 million in fraud money, which is a one-time money, but still with that money, we finished 2022 at that same $2 million level. Without the fraud money, we would have finished it with at about $1 million. So that indicates that we are losing ground to where we should be. They recommend that you finish the calendar year with enough money to carry the next calendar year because the taxes don't come in December. So without that recurring fraud money, we would only have had $1 million, which would have left us $1.5 million between the 2022 budget amended budget, which is about another $700,000, $800,000 below what the zero-based budget shows we need. So we are well below $2 million in that budget line if we want to get it up to speed. The second issue was capital project. We have $0 in our capital project. That is the capital projects. If we had a functioning capital projects line, that would be the type of funds that would be used to offset the bridge. He also recommended that we have other carryover funds that are accrued throughout the years so that you can spend them on items which are outside the normal operating budget. And the manual SSA operations manual specifies two lines. One is operations and maintenance. I think I call that sustainment in my brief. The other is repair and replace, which means that if the boilers go out in the pool, you would use that repair and replace line instead of your operating funds to fix that problem. So that allows you to fix your operating costs and use those contingency funds for other items that are outside, one-off items or repetitive items like replacing the carpet. So he basically suggested that we continue to move forward to bring those budget lines up if we wanted to stay within budgetary constraints. Financials. So we are managing the budget right now, year end. Right now, we have about 130, as of the end of September, we had 138K in funds. We projected revenue primarily from the golf course, some from the clubhouse for about 20K. Payroll and invoices left us with about 215K estimated bill, so that leaves us a shortfall of 20K. Assuming there are no other contingencies, that would still leave us short. However, we might be able to make it through until the 2023 taxes arrive, so we could offset that. The problem is that takes away from your 2023 operating. So we are making it to the end of the year, maybe, but we are still not in a good financial position. The auditor also suggested that we present to the board at least quarterly this budget summary that comes out of Chorus, our accounting software. Right now for 2023, we're showing $888,000 of the projected 2351 revenue stream. That is all internal revenue and taxes that, off-site taxes like car taxes that are collected throughout the year. This budget line will become whole once we get the anticipated 2023 taxes, which happens in December. So right now we're at 37%. That's about where we projected we would be based on revenue coming in. Expenditures, the office is showing an 80 or 93% completion rate. That's the 60K. That's primarily left in that is salaries and benefits. As you can see in Parks and Recs, we're overspent by 252%, 751K. That was money that was primarily transferred to capital projects because we had a zero balance in capital projects. And there were capital expenditures of order that were accrued early on in the year. We have since turned down a number of receipts of those materials, those orders. And we have, when we did the layoffs in August, we reduced our workforce costs by about a half. So that's why we're showing that deficit there. So intergovernmental revenue is like grants. We have a couple of grants that we've got. Those are all at 100%. Expenditures on material or on capital projects is zero because what we did is we transferred over the money as we needed it out of the operating fund. So that was a straight transfer. And the property there is, I think, appreciation line, isn't it? So that's also at 100% because it's a budgetary requirement. Intergovernmental revenue, that line is revenue that comes from other sources. That's never balanced out. It's just what we get. Most of that is impact fees, and that's what we've gotten in impact fees today. So that's basically an impact fee balance. The next one is public improvements. We don't really do a lot of those. There was some initial expenditures. I think those mainly came out of impact fees and park and recs and public property is a property depreciation. And so the operational budget, as we're showing there, is zeroed out, but we are in the negative because we were overspent early in the year. Okay. Question? You have a hard copy of that, so you can look at it, and if you have questions, come back and talk to me, either preferably with students. We, like I said, we are in a negative position this year. We've been that way for most of the year, but we have managed. We were due to run out of funds in September. And we took management actions to we made it for the full year.
Can you speak up?
Yeah, we were due to run out of funds in September. We have managed to the point where we are likely to make it through the year without major funding. That's it.
Thank you. Next, onto our action items. We have 2 sets of minutes to review and possibly approve.
On the minutes for October the 11th, I just had a question. On the second page, there was, maybe this is not the right time, but it was not, but you see where it said Elkhorn Park on the top of the second page? It talks about that we had to meet with Rachel or Rochelle up to the county, talk about Elkhorn Park, Sound Trail, and she told us we need to do a site permit study. It's going to cost $1,000, blah, blah, blah. I guess I'm wondering, since we have talked subsequently with Trish and we're about to talk to the voters, about to talk to the voters again about the Sound Trail. Is this site permit study, or is this still required? It's not clear to me whether we still need to be moving forward with that or not. Does anybody know?
Yes, that's the teleconference we had this week.
Okay, so that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, that was discussing that site plan. And you waived the site plan for Soundwell Trail because you got project, but you did not waive the discussion with community.
So one that we're going to do next week.
Yeah. Okay. But we didn't have to do a site plan for that.
Okay.
We didn't have to do a site plan for that.
Okay. And then Enzyme was going to redo the engineering design for this area. We had stated we would be completed this year. Looks to me like drawings I thought it wasn't. Am I looking for something else? Under Mill Pond Park.
Yeah, the phase 1 of Mill Pond Park is completed. The drawing is complete.
Okay, that's what
They did have, if you recall, they had a couple of comments back from Trish on that meeting that they had to clean up.
Right.
And, but essentially,
They were going to do that direct.
correct.
And then the last thing, I guess we kind of talked a little bit about this with the media. Item, Center Mill Bond Park, but it's down there under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth bullet down. It says Oscarson Park will need a site map redesign. We can look and see how this is going to work. Sean will want to have Blue Line and Ensign get together and start to look at that. My opinion is that we still need to do that. We haven't made any progress on that. Is that correct?
That's correct. The only reason that was under Mill Pond is to say, for Mill Pond, we're going to have to do that same process. But I think we need as we talked about for Mill Pond, we need to have a firmer plan going into that design submission to the county.
Okay.
Do
So
you think the
that
minutes?
being said, I would say that I've read the minutes for October 11th and 2023 for the work meeting. I find them to be substantially correct, so I think we have to accept the work meeting minutes of October 11th, 2023.
Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
Oh, and
And then you can compare the teams, no attendance for that meeting. Motion passes. October 25th, 2023 business meeting.
I found these minutes to be substantially correct. I didn't see any issues. If you would entertain a motion, I would move to accept. The board of directors business meeting minutes for Wednesday, October 25th, 2023.
I'd second
All in favor?
Aye.
that.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to action item number 3, 2023 1103, presentation of Solomon Park voting area plan. Jim?
Okay, for the Solomon Park, we put this out about a month ago. We got that back and had awarded the contract, and we got a protest from an individual that he had not been given ample opportunity to bid with consideration we had given to the winning contractor. So we pulled that award back, revamped the bid packet, sent that bid packet back out, offered an in-house meeting with all 3 of the contractors for clarification. Nobody came back. The only person who updated their bid was H Cement. They dropped their bid to the lowest bid. We reviewed this in the planning committee meeting and felt sufficient. After that discussion, we felt that it was H Cement had met all the criteria, and we are recommending that we approve the H Cement bid of $150,000. Those should be paid.
So we're recommending him as the contractor that was substantially correct.
Correct.
Will get substantially.
Tim, at this time, did you submit all the bids of the other 2 vendors?
H Cement was aware that PAL bid had won contract initially and was aware of that bid, because we had announced the bid. So we didn't know any other way to fix it other than rebid it and allow the other contractor to rebid.
And so we modified
Modify the
specifications.
So just to clarify for everyone that's listening, we're trying to do the pad. Where was
Right,
that?
it's the loading pad at Solomon Park. So Solomon Park's been redone this summer. One end is the loading pad for the late weed offloading. That was not part of the original bid because it was not included. The individual who did the landscaping didn't feel he could do that. He later rebid under this bid, and that was PAL landscaping.
And originally, we thought that the asphalt would be cheaper than cement. But then we got a bid for cement that was less than the asphalt. And so we let the other people bid on cement also.
Right, that's acceptable.
That's what that. So we'll take any public comment on that, on this contract.
I just have a question, where do you post the bid if other folks wanted to do it? Is it on your website?
It's not on the website, but they have a government bid site that's statewide.
Okay,
That is posted on.
just wondering if you guys did it locally or again.
Yeah, we have a vendor list that we send it to and we post it on the site.
Oh, I didn't.
All right, any other board discussion? And if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm a little apprehensive to approve a bid and enforce the behavior coming in and other bidding.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
So it seems a little strange that we post accepted 108,000, someone doesn't like it, and yes, we did change the qualification of the bid, but it does seem like there's a behavior of underbidding once a bid is already known. So I'm a little cautious in reinforcing an underbidding behavior, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we were sort of stuck because once he knew it was a low bid and it was cement, because he was contracting out the asphalt work, and that's his internal work, cement. So, yeah, we didn't know another way to fix it.
Part of it was on procedures, we wouldn't rush that.
We feel under public policy, which with this because we changed the terms of the bid.
Correct.
And you feel comfortable based on that, and that's what management.
Yes, they have a history of performance with it.
That doesn't create any legal liability, does it, because of the bid change?
I don't think so
I was
because
asking.
there was respect.
Sometimes people can bring frivolous lawsuits, I just didn't know that was a concern.
Yeah.
Are you ready for?
But and Cal could have brought their bill down, right?
Correct.
Like they had the same opportunity.
And we did notify Cal that an individual had put a notice that they felt that the bid was improperly conducted. So we did notify them that somebody was looking at it, and that we were sending out these. So they were notified.
Because the scope was clarified.
Yes, the scope is clarified.
Right.
Now.
So I would are you ready for motion on? So I make a motion that we approve H Cement and General Contracting as the successful low bidder, who's a successful bidder to do the work at South Solomon Park. Do the concrete work, the ramp, the water ramp, again, the drive, and things that are there. We,
Second.
Motion, second. Jim seconded. All right. All in favor?
no, just let the individual.
Individual. Okay, Maria? Aye. Randall?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Alan?
Aye.
I vote aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, number 2023, 4A, presentation of updated whistleblower section of the operations. So this is something we're going to have in the policy committee. It's mostly taken from the state whistleblower policy with a couple of updates for our specific situation with safety concerns. I'm sorry, Cassandra, I can't hear you. Oh, sorry. Sorry, is this the one that works though?
Yeah, it sounded like.
Okay. So since the work meeting, I understand, just since the work meeting, what we added was item number 4, 1B4, to add an email, a whistleblower email, address that people could, along with these other options for making communication in this nature. We also had an email address, and then as we were looking at some other government websites, specifically Tool City, they have a form on their website for this type of communication, and we thought that was really useful. It might save a couple of communication steps because, someone just calls or they send an email and they just say, I think there's waste, or I think there's abuse. And the form that they use asks more specific questions, so you can get more information right up front. And there's a place where you can attach documentation, things like that. So, the policy committee was thinking that was a good thing that we should adopt, and to work into our website. So, that's where that's added there. Otherwise, it's, the same as the document that you presented at the meeting.
Yeah, I was in favor, this is what I discussed in our work meeting, 1B4 on that file, or on that policy. I like it, it does allow us to be compliant with our fraud assessment as well. B reads as, this would be an internal information, this would be posted internally on the clubhouse interface for employees to use to be able to identify any fraud. And I think that is a good idea, you don't want that communicated with minimal things that someone like to consider. Hopefully, community members would come forward as well as the case. But I read it, I felt it to be efficient, direct, as all policy, we should think of this as a dynamic policy, and we should review it every year or so and understand how that goes out. But I would be in favor of this.
Thank you.
This was picked up as a deficiency in our operations manual because there is currently no whistleblower policy in there. So it was felt we needed to add that to the policy manual to be complete.
We are going to get that form. Yes. So, is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Any public comment on this one? Okay.
I did have a question, I'll go back to just discussion real quick. Who would, this policy doesn't really cover this, but who would be managing and or reviewing this?
That particular email address. So in the policy, you could formally communicate this inappropriate conduct to, I'll just read down these 5 options. First, a person in authority, the chain of command, or a human resource manager, or one of the board members, or email this whistleblower, email address, or go through the form, or if the conduct is criminal in nature, report to law enforcement. So as we were talking with the policy committee, so the form that we found on some other websites, specifically Total City's website, all of that information goes to their finance director. So we were thinking in our organization, it would make sense for the whistleblower email to go to the board treasurer.
Right, and I would be aligned with that, I just want to make sure that we understand that that is reviewed by finance. We can have one. It is also that maybe have someone else not on the finance committee to be involved in that as well. And we can, again, we can change the policy as needed, but it's something we should think at as we do this. I just don't want emails to get sent there and not be, we don't have clear,
Yes.
clear lineage as to who.
Yes. Yeah, we want to take all of this concern seriously. Thank you.
So if you'd entertain any motion, I would move to approve whistleblower policy.
I'd second that.
Motion from Evan, a second by John. Maria? Yes. Randall?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Evan?
Aye.
I vote yes. Jim? James votes yes. Motion passes. Number 5, 2023, 11:05A, presentation of moving scheduled board meeting from December 6th to December 5th. The reason we would move this from our annual meeting.
Thanksgiving. Already second, here, we can keep the date at December 6th. December 6th.
Okay.
So,
What do we want to do?
Just keep.
so we want to table that discussion.
I think.
Okay, so, yeah.
Or just we'll not vote to not take it.
We had the 6th of December as our regular scheduled meeting.
Right.
When we thought we were going to have to do the canvass to certify the election on the 5th, we were going to move all the meetings to the 5th. Information today from the county says, no, the 6th is good enough. So
We're
we're,
doing the cameras on the 5th, or 6th, not on the 5th.
right, and that means we won't have to change the meetings. I make a motion that we not change the meeting schedule.
I have a motion. Randall seconds that. Maria?
I'm gonna abstain because I got a conflict because we scheduled this on the March changing it to the 6th.
Okay, Randall?
I was just looking, no, we're good.
I know there was a motion on the table, but does that cause confusion to the public? Yeah.
So normally they're on Wednesdays, right?
Correct.
So
You're trying to keep it on Wednesday.
would be, so we're keep that on Wednesday.
Is there concern that you wouldn't have enough folks to pull forward?
Well, it's a public schedule for the 6th, so we have to formally move it from the 6th to the 5th, because that's what the public schedule is. If we don't have to do that, we're all scheduled, so that's, the motion says let's not move it since we don't have to republish it.
That makes no sense.
I will change the date with the date.
Okay, let's finish our,
Discuss.
are we ready to finish voting, or did you have something to say after? Okay, we'll continue, vote John,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
Motion passes the motion to not change the meeting passes. Okay. Number 6, 2023-1106A, presentation of moving restricted funds.
Okay, so since we are going to have a shortfall, there are two ways to handle that. One is we can borrow from a lending agency. The startup fee for that is 15 to 20K, just to start up, just to apply and get the loan to cover the loss. The second option is to borrow from the restricted fund account impact fees, and there is no impact if we repay that within the same tax year. So our recommendation is that if we borrow for a longer period, you can do that, but that you have to go through a public hearing in the form of agreement to do that. If we just say we're going to take whatever funds we need to stay solvent this year from the impact fees and then pay that back whenever we get our tax distribution, there is no impact. There's nothing required, but we felt it would behoove us to go ahead and formally put a request in to borrow up to 150K to allow us to do that with the auspices of the board. So our recommendation is that we authorize the financial officer to borrow up to 150K, depending on whether we have that need or not. If there is no need to transfer, we will not transfer. Okay?
So this is a what if.
This is a what if. The problem is if we run into a problem, it would be before we have the next business meeting. So then we would have to call a special meeting and get all the transfer. I would just like to have the contingency in place in case we need to transfer.
So clarification for this, I'm under, I don't know how to say this, but I believe our profile, our financial profile should not be lending against the funds we get at the end. Right now, we have about 60K in interest revenue that we get right now, but it would cost us 20 to 30 to 40K to lend against that. Now, some state entities do, and some people do that. That's a 100K swing, right? Potential swing, not revenue, now expense, right? And so I believe our profile should be, so we're not paying taxpayer dollars, to not lend against that. So what we would do is borrow an official certificate against our impact fees. That being said, we can only do that if it's taken and repaid in the same fiscal year. We cleared that with our legal, with our lawyers, and we feel pretty confident that this is.
We've also talked to the state and the auditors.
The state and then the auditors are the same understanding that I have, that I feel it's best for our taxpayer dollars to not lend against them. So, I would be in favor of this, and we would have a document, and.
Sandra has a document to sign that would
Yeah.
allow us to do
this.
Yep, and Rose to clear that.
Does anyone want to read that?
Guess I should have printed 6 of them off. So,
Public comment?
So just to clarify, you can go up to 150 borrowed from this fund, which makes sense to not pay the additional finance.
correct.
So the calendar year, that's if you have a shortfall for 2023, the fiscal year has to pay back before June of 2023.
No, it has to be, we're on a calendar year.
Okay, it has to be paid back.
So we're gonna borrow, if we have to borrow the 1st of December, by the end of December, we're gonna pay it back.
I just didn't know if it was like, that's a
No,
short.
it's calendar year,
So
so
like,
it's
we're
gonna have
short,
to
then
be.
you're touching and.
Very short term.
Yeah, our intent is that if we get the tax money mid-December, we would just go ahead and use that directly.
Is there a borrow cap that's set at 150, or is it just that's what you are projecting?
We just went to 150 because when I prepared the paperwork, it looked like we might be there. We're actually reducing that level each day, so it's up to 150. We're only going to take out what we need to. Because whatever you do, it's going to cost, you have to pay interest on it. So back to ourselves, but we still have to pay interest on it. It's cleaner if we don't have to.
I was just raising 2023 or some random.
Yeah, end of the year, end of the calendar.
And the intent, as we saw in our earlier slides, might only be 20, 30K.
Yeah.
But if it ends up being 50, 60, we want the flexibility of being able to do that for 150.
And I think it's helpful because I think people, when they see this on the agenda, as far as comments, just publicly speaking, they were more concerned that it was all of a sudden 500,000 something that was being borrowed. I don't even know where that number came from. So while we're clearing it out.
Probably because of the shortfall, the 750K shortfall.
Oh, it could have been from the.
Yeah, but we covered that with funds that were remaining from last year.
I mean, that's probably where the number came from, but I think because you're recording, maybe people tune in and listen, I think that'll figure that out substantially.
Yeah, so we're only gonna borrow up to 150K and hopefully use it.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
So I'd be in favor of this. I think this is the proper way. We've already, as you said, I was in favor of that. So if you would entertain a motion, I would move to approve our document of restricted funds for $150,000 for this year, paid that the same fiscal year by December.
This resolution authorizing the interest on the loan. I have a motion, second from Maria. Maria, how do you vote? Yes. Randall?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
Sharon, yes. Motion passes.
So you can sign that one.
Okay. Number 7, 2023, 1107A, presentation of progress assessment procedures.
Okay, so, you want to handle this, Andrew, or you want me to?
Go ahead.
One of our deficiencies that we've seen continually on our assessments is that we don't have a formal process for filling out the progress assessment. Last year it was done by the GM in absentia, and so we really didn't Andrew and I looked at that and didn't feel it was completely accurate, but it was sufficient to meet the state requirement. So we proposed out of the policy committee, and I guess it's in, that the assessment would be done by this board in December.
But the
Finance.
finance committee.
Right. And then it would be approved by the board at the first business meeting following. That's all right.
That's the finance committee for that.
That's the first time I've seen that.
Right, yeah.
I think December is a difficult, time for a lot of people to sort of get together. Maybe for one of us, I guess. But I'm willing to do it, and I intend to do it.
Yes. That's why we just said fill it out then. And we'll-
It's like a 2-page checklist, and you know it's gonna be on it, so.
Yep.
I mean, it's either do it or don't.
So, public comment? All right. Thank you.
Any public comments on our fraud risk assessment procedure? We would just, and if this passes, we would just add, this responsibility to the finance committee, charter.
And it was just something that wasn't being done, that needed to be done.
It's being done, it was just being done by the general manager, internally, and so we just kind of wanted more oversight over that, and it asks questions like, just someone other than the clerk and treasurer reconcile, stuff like that, so we just want to know that that's being done.
Yeah, and it includes things like, is there an internal audit? Well, last year I did an internal audit of the agency, but the GM checked no. So it wasn't there.
Yeah, so to clarify, this is a state-required fraud risk assessment, right? And so, we're all general manager. I mean, I reviewed it and we talked over a few things. I mean, might have disagreed on a few things, because some of the questions are, is it a formal internal audit committee? Well, we have a finance committee, we don't also have an audit. But that finance committee does do audit functions, which is what I had to do last year, as well as a formal audit committee. Well, again, we're a finance committee, we don't necessarily do the standard audits, but we attempt and we do a few things. So, trying to be as honest as we can, you try to say, how accurate is that to say yes? And so, I reviewed it, I signed it, I felt comfortable with it, but it is something we do every year. This proposed, motion would say, now the finance committee is going to take it completely over. The general manager is part of that finance committee, will be involved, and we do it together and then have it done by June. We're done with public comment. Again, I would be in favor of this and would motion to approve the proposed timeline and the assumption of the finance committee to take this over.
I accept that.
Thank you. Maria, how do you vote? Yes. Randall?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
I vote yes. Jim?
Yes.
Motion passes. And that, all of our action. Goodness, okay, board. 59? What? I'm out of meeting this short in a long time. Let's see, board member reports and discussion. Maria, do you have anything?
I do. I'm going to reach out to the sheriff's office and talk to them. There's been some movement, oh, you don't do that, I guess. There's been some social media posts about storage containers and trailers being parked on the roads and difficulty of people getting through the roads in Stansbury. So I'm going to reach out to the sheriff and see what we can talk to them about. I myself have lived with a pack and tote thing on the street for the last 2 years in the same place. And a trailer that's been there for a year, and a travel trailer that's now been there for a year and a half. And one other travel trailer that somebody's living in on the street. So that's just on my little circle. So I'll reach out with that, and if any of you have any areas of concern, let me know, and I'll talk to the sheriff.
Part of that's gonna fall under the zoning administration.
Well, it's gonna be sheriff because of the snow removal.
Well,
That's why I'm this year. And you're right, HOAs.
Yeah, but, you know, with it,
Should she go to the enforcement?
yeah, I go to enforcement on the zoning area and talk to them about it. Trish can help you out there.
Hey, I'll get the name for you.
And, if the county hasn't established, several years back, there was a big issue. We had snow and people were griping about people parking on the streets, can't plow the snow, blah, blah, blah. And the county commission turned a deaf ear to us. So, maybe we need to go back and petition them again and see what
Okay,
we can do. So anyway, this is my.
okay, thank you. Anything else?
Oh.
Anything?
Are the wrenches not coming tonight?
They said they would be here. I haven't seen them.
Okay. I just have a list of,
Yeah, I think they were shooting for 8:30 because that's usually. So,
that's fair.
Sean?
Okay, I got a couple items, to report on at the Porterway Ballpark over there. I was able to finally get started over there, doing weed removal and leveling, moving the dirt around over there. Finally got a Harold that was big enough to do the job. I'm hopeful that it will rain about a half inch here tomorrow, so that I can do more. But I'm stuck right now, I need a little moisture to make that happen. So it may come to a point that I may need some volunteers to help move some of the weeds out that I've got for parks. I will make contact with, I guess, Ingrid, if you have a volunteer list, we got that Glenn got, who's got it? Who does?
When, a person?
Or you don't have it, he has it? No, if I need it, I'll call him. See if I can get anything generated up there. On Mill Pond Park, we met today and talked about the sledding hill and reshaping some areas on the sledding hill, the parking lot, and got some good ideas. And we're gonna have Brett, yes, no, he's right in or out.
What was that?
Brett, is he gonna help us?
I let him know the backhoe is over there now.
Okay, so Brett's trying to get something put together to help us regrade that hillside just a little bit more, move the dirt where we really want it, and work a little bit on some slopes a little bit like here. So anyway, we're just doing some rough grading. We're not doing anything specific. We're getting it so that we can look at it better and perhaps develop a more a master plan for that particular area, and then we can take it in phases. And some of the information that Jim was talking to the county about in this meeting. So we're working on that. Weatherization, Jim, can you update us anything on the pool, boiler room, weatherization, or keep it on?
Yeah, Gordon was able to find a second plug, so he's got 2 ceramic heaters in there now. He and Darren are looking for a way to drain and refill the empties. I don't know if they've gotten there yet. We haven't. So as soon as we find a inlet port that we can access that, we'll bring water.
Would it be,
So we're still working on that, but right now we've got 2 ceramic heaters in there.
and do we go with the ceiling artificially with this screen or anything?
No,
So
yeah,
heat
that's a good idea. We probably.
you care if I ask him about that or?
No, we talked about
Okay. And then on the lake mower, we got the orange one and the blue one. The blue one's disabled. So, Darren, or not Darren, Gordon and I had talked about, getting a cover over the motor and the operations and all that kind of stuff. Are you still all right if I work with him on that or something? Okay. Number 4, on the golf course, got a reward out there for $1,000 if we can catch the individuals, have to be careful what I say. Individuals, we believe that we caught them, that we would be juveniles, we thought, and, we've got a lot of song and dance and happy jump around, all we don't mind. Anyway, so, we didn't get any support from the sheriff, but my opinion is that person put forth some effort, turned it in and whatever. So I realized that the board said arrest and conviction. I believe that the private individual that put that up would be willing to pay half of that because we got somebody arrested and they were got into a couple of kids. So I'm willing to, I think that person is willing to move forward on that. I'm wondering how you feel about it, support.
Yeah, I think we talked about half.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
I'll call him tomorrow, that's the way we do it.
okay.
So we did get an arrest, and
It wasn't an arrest, but he was called in and talked to, and parents had to be with him, but the prosecutor, the county attorney declined the prosecution.
Not that.
Evidently, in today's society, the parents does not want to continue responding to being
Anyway, okay, so if we could move forward on something like that, then I can contact that person if you like and.
I have noticed that after those signs went up and we did pick up a few guys, and then dropped off.
Yeah,
So to that extent, it was.
so I was thinking we'd pick up, since it's getting towards the winter and whatever, I thought we'd pick up the signs for now. And let's, whoever this person is, give him the power and back, give him his money, and let's go. All right with that.
I believe these are private funds anyway.
He's not, he's not Stansbury funds, these are private.
I think that person would, or the one that's.
Okay. And then, last thing I had, the December 13th meeting, which was, I guess, yeah, business meeting, right? Not moving that, is that right? That's what I thought.
That is correct. We were only going to do the ones we had. I'll read these.
All right, that's all
First off, I'd like to, just thank the board we put together. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts going on, and I think, we stepped up here, so thank you. I spent last time thanking Angie. Angie's got a holiday, the 16th of December coming up. We'll need some volunteers. We'll need people to join. There'll also be a great opportunity and some fun. So, if anyone, including the public, is available, please join us. And then I do want to give a heartfelt thank you to Jim. Again, he has done a full-time job, if not more, for 6-7 months, and it's awesome on things. So thank you for that. One comment I would love to hear from the sports groups tonight. I think they're asking things. They often ask for us to meet with them. Well, this is the time because we can't get together outside of a posted meeting. So this would have been a great opportunity to hear from them what the reasoning is for a potential break in this first year or whatever it might be. So if we can reach out to them, ask them to come in and just get their side.
Because we got that stuff late this week, we didn't have a chance to vet it and mature it. So the plan is to have them come in December sometime.
All right, and I will yield my time.
Thanks. I also want to say thanks to Angie, Jim, and Ingrid, and everyone in the office is bending over backwards to take care of all of these end of year things. And then the guys out in the on the grounds that are winterizing everything and getting things cleaned up. Got a lot of work going on here. And then also to our community members, because our other community members step up. Colton Henderson's been in here to help, and Lester and Tony. Showed us tonight to help us get the webcam, kind of in order. If you're watching this video, please be patient with us. We'll get these figured out, but, little by little. And if anyone can come volunteer to like run it, so we can like also see the PowerPoint and toggle back and forth, how we take with another person, do you want to pay another person, so if you can help us in just little things like that, that'd be really helpful. Glenn Oscarson has had a group over at the Mill Pond Park area cleaning up down there, and then the cross-country team, Stansbury High School cross-country team was also out doing a service project with them too. So we've just got a fabulous community, and we're getting a lot done. That's all I have for today. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
We have a closed session.
I do have a closed session.
And you guys too.
To just leave, real property.
I will move to adjourn the meeting and go into closed session for land use discussions.
The second from Jim, Maria? Yes.
Yes.
I vote yes. John?
Yes.
Yes.
I vote yes. Jim?
Yes.
Yes. And we invite Ingrid to amend that motion to invite.
So amazing.
Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Can I ask you a couple quick questions? I know you're adjourned, I just want to ask you a couple things. With that volunteer list, I know you probably should turn that off, but with that volunteer list, I know Glenn has that, but if there's any way, I know there's one more thing to stick on the website, but I know that there's volunteer groups, like son's a sophomore, and big on soul TV, more than ever, sometimes. I just think people don't know. So if we can potentially put that out there for a volunteer call.
Yes.
People want to, but they don't know how to get involved. Especially when they're doing
And we love ideas.
Yeah.